It began like most quiet horrors do, with something simple, a garage sale on a sleepy Saturday morning. The Smith family wasn't looking for anything in particular, just something to fill the empty space in the hallway upstairs. That's when they saw it, a dusty old painting, tucked behind a broken chair and some cracked dishes. It was a portrait of a woman in a long black dress, standing alone in what looked like a dead field. Her face was pale, her eyes dark, sunken, and strangely alert. There was nothing overtly terrifying about it, not at first, but the eyes. The eyes had that strange painted stillness that somehow felt like motion, like they were aware, watching, following. It cost $5. The family brought it home, cleaned it off, and hung it at the top of the stairs where it fit perfectly between two framed photos. It was just meant to be decoration. That first night, nothing unusual happened. At least, nothing anyone noticed. But around 3 a.m., Mrs. Smith woke up suddenly. No noise, no dream. Just that odd feeling that someone was standing nearby, just out of sight. She sat up, looked around, checked the hallway. Nothing there, but the air felt a little colder. The next morning, as the family moved through the house, they found the painting, not on the wall but propped up neatly against the kitchen counter. No one remembered moving it. The kids denied it. So did the parents. They assumed it had fallen and someone picked it up without thinking. It wasn't a big deal. They put it back. The following night, it moved again. This time, it was standing upright in the guest room, right in front of the bed. The room was dark, the curtains drawn, and yet somehow the painting seemed to glow faintly in the shadows, as if the woman inside it was lit from somewhere else entirely. The family was uneasy, but still trying to stay rational. Maybe someone was playing a prank. Maybe one of the kids was sleepwalking, but when it happened again, there were no more excuses. The next night, the painting appeared in the bathroom, leaned carefully against the mirror. It was facing inward, as though the woman in the painting was trying to look at herself. Or worse, through the mirror, into something else. Every time they moved it back, it came back to a new room. The hallway, the laundry room, even the basement, placed right at the bottom of the stairs. By the fifth night, it had visited nearly every part of the house, except the master bedroom. At first, the parents laughed it off with nervous jokes, telling themselves it was just a coincidence. But something about the way it was always perfectly placed, always facing the door, always waiting, made the laughter dry up. There was no way this was random. It was moving with purpose, choosing its spots. Then the painting itself began to change. At first, the shifts were small. Mr. Smith passed it in the hallway one morning and paused, frowning. He couldn't explain why, but something felt off. Then he saw it. The woman's mouth, once sealed tight, was now ever so slightly parted, a sliver of darkness between her lips, almost as if she had just started to whisper. It was subtle enough to dismiss until they checked an old photo of the painting from the day they brought it home. Her mouth had definitely been closed then. Completely. Now it wasn't. The next morning, her eyes were different, redder, glossy, like she had been crying. And over the next several days, the changes grew more obvious and more disturbing. Her expression began to morph entirely. A smile slowly stretched across her face. Not a warm smile, but something cruel and far too wide for a human mouth. Her lips thinned, her cheeks pulled tight, revealing too many teeth. Not sharp exactly, but unnervingly clean. The kind of smile you see in nightmares. It didn't stop there. The field behind her, the dull brown grass and pale blue sky, had started to darken. The grass became black, shriveled, almost burned. And above her head, the sky turned the color of ash. Little gray specks hovered in the air, as if something behind the glass was slowly burning. That was when they decided enough was enough. Mr. Smith removed the painting from the wall, this time not gently. He didn't damage it, but his hands were shaking. It was cold to the touch, colder than it should have been, like it had just come in from a freezing night. He took it to the attic, the one place in the house it hadn't yet visited, and locked it inside a heavy wooden chest. He didn't destroy it, not yet. Something about it made that feel dangerous, almost like it wanted them to try, like burning it would make it stronger. They just wanted it gone, hidden, forgotten, out of sight. And for 3 nights it stayed there. The air in the house felt lighter. The lights stopped flickering. Even the dog, who had been restless for days, finally slept through the night. Then on the 4th morning, they woke up and found it back on the wall, hanging perfectly, without a nail or hook out of place. No noise in the night, no sign of anyone coming into the attic. The chest was still locked, the attic door undisturbed, but the painting was there, as if it had never been gone, and now the change was clear. She wasn't just staring into the room anymore. She was staring out, right at the viewer, right at whoever stood before it. There was no softness left in her face, no sadness, just a still, cruel calm, like she had been waiting. That night, their dog, usually calm, playful, and eager to follow the family upstairs, suddenly froze at the base of the staircase, its ears pinned back, its body stiff, and then it began to growl low and steady. It wasn't barking at something it saw. It was barking at something it sensed. After a few tense moments, it backed away slowly and hid under the couch, trembling. No one could coax it out. That same night, both children woke up crying. They said they heard footsteps above their heads, slow, dragging footsteps, like someone walking barefoot across the attic floor. Not pacing, not wandering, just moving steadily, back and forth. The sound didn't stop for hours. The parents went up to check, but the attic was empty. The chest they had locked the painting in was still shut tight, and yet the sense of movement hadn't left. The next morning, things escalated. While eating breakfast, they heard knocking, not from the front door, not from the walls, but directly above them, soft, steady taps coming from the ceiling of their bedroom. One knock every few seconds, no rhythm, just patient, consistent tapping, like someone was waiting to be noticed. By then, the family's fear had turned into something heavier, dread. It was clear that this wasn't a prank or a coincidence. This was deliberate, intelligent, and getting closer. They didn't know where else to turn. They weren't religious. Church was something other people did, but desperation overruled everything. Mrs. Smith found the number of a local priest known for handling odd situations, calls people didn't want to explain over the phone. He came that afternoon, a quiet man, older, with the kind of calm that suggested he'd seen things before. The moment he stepped into the hallway and saw the painting, he froze. He didn't ask questions. He didn't touch it. He just stared and then spoke very softly, as if afraid to raise his voice in its presence. "This was not made by hands," he said. His tone was final, not poetic. It was a warning. He told them to bury it, not throw it out, not burn it, but bury it deep, far away from the house. And whatever they did, he said, do not burn it. "It wants that," he added without blinking. "It would like that too much." So they listened. That evening, just before sunset, they wrapped the painting in old blankets, loaded it into the trunk of their car, and drove. They didn't talk. No music. Just the sound of tires on empty roads as the sky grew darker. They drove for hours until they were well beyond the reach of neighborhoods, lights, or signals. Deep into the woods, they stopped beside an overgrown trail and carried the painting into the trees. The deeper they walked, the heavier it felt, not just in their arms, but in the air, the weight of something old pressing in. When they finally found a spot, they dug, not a shallow grave. They went deep, so deep that the cold earth turned slick and hard to move. When they dropped the painting in, it made no sound, just vanished into the black soil. They filled the hole and left quickly, never looking back. And for a while, it seemed to work. The house felt lighter somehow. The tension that had gripped every hallway began to lift. The dog returned to normal, the lights no longer flickered, and the knocking never came back. The hallway where the painting had hung felt just like it used to. Quiet, ordinary, forgettable. For the first time in weeks, the Smiths slept without fear. They started to believe it was over. Then their daughter began to draw. She was only 6. Her world was usually filled with bright colors and happy things. Dogs, flowers, stick figures, holding hands under the sun. But now every drawing was the same. A tall woman in a black dress, standing alone in a dark, burning field. The sky in her drawings was always gray, filled with falling ash. Sometimes the woman was crying, sometimes smiling, but always her eyes were staring forward, at the viewer, watching. The family tried to ignore it, brushing it off as imagination, but the drawings kept coming. Dozens of them. When her mother finally asked who the woman was, the little girl looked up, expressionless, and pointed toward the attic. "She came back," she said softly. "She lives upstairs now." Then she smiled, a quiet, knowing smile, and returned to coloring the ash. If you want more chilling stories like this, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and see you soon.